Ever tried to make sense of all the chiefs in a big tech company?
Ah,
You know, the CEO, the CTO, well, the list just seems to go on and
it
on.
really does.
It can feel like you need, I don't know, a secret decoder ring just to figure out who does what.
Totally.
You've
That
got
feeling of information overload. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're diving headfirst into that today, but with a specific focus. We've got this source, the 12 CXO Playbooks by Balaji.T or BT,
Mm-hmm.
and our mission really is to pull out the key insights, give you clear, sort of no-nonsense understanding of these really critical leadership roles.
Kind of like an express pass.
Yeah, an express pass to grasping the strategic gears turning inside midsize to large IT companies. So if you're listening, maybe you're like our usual listener, the learner, keen to get knowledge efficiently, effectively.
And maybe find a few of those aha moments along the way.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Then you're in the right place.
Well, what strikes me immediately is just the number, 12. 12 distinct CXO roles.
It's a lot.
It really highlights how specialized leadership has become, especially in modern IT, doesn't it?
It really does. It feels like the days where, you know, just a couple of top execs could oversee everything effectively are, well, probably long gone.
Definitely gone.
Okay, so let's quickly run through this list, this roster. We've got the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, obviously setting the big picture
As
direction.
captain, yeah.
Then the COO, Chief Operating Officer, making sure things actually, run smoothly day to day.
Keeping the trains running.
Right. And interestingly, BT flags the CDO, Chief Delivery Officer, as a role he's like particularly keen on. We should maybe circle back to that.
Okay.
Then there's the CTO, Chief Technology Officer, focused on future tech, R&D.
The horizon scanner.
And the CIO, Chief Information Officer, often confused with the CTO, but really looking at the internal IT setup, right?
Exactly, the internal machinery.
Yeah.
Then you've got the CPO, Chief Product Officer, shaping what the company actually sells or offers.
Makes sense. And of course, the money side is the CFO, Chief Financial Officer.
Can't forget the CFO.
And getting the word out, the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer.
Right, and people. That's the CHRO or People Officer.
And then sales, the revenue engine, led by the CSO or Chief Revenue Officer.
Crucial role.
And, maybe more critical than ever, the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. Protecting everything.
Absolutely vital. And finally, dealing with all the data. The CDAO, Chief Data and Analytics Officer.
True. Okay. That is quite a lineup, a comprehensive picture for sure.
And if you just step back for a second, you can sort of see how each role, while it's distinct, plays this crucial part in the whole company's strategy and execution.
Yeah.
BT's framework neatly groups them by function, which I think really helps understand their individual contributions and ideally how they're supposed to work together.
Exactly. That alignment piece seems key. Okay, now, to keep this manageable, let's maybe zoom in on a few of these roles. Explore the thinking behind their playbook titles, as BT calls them.
Good idea. Where should we start?
Let's start at the top. The CEO, the playbook title is From Vision to Value Realization. That sounds pretty fundamental.
It really is the crux of it, isn't it? This playbook is all about how the CEO takes that big picture idea, the vision, and aligns the whole company to actually make it happen, turn it into tangible results.
So, bridging the gap between ambition and reality.
Precisely. It emphasizes using outcome-based OKRs, those measurable goals, tied directly to the big objective.
Right. Objectives and key results.
Yeah. And it's also about building a legacy. It's not just, here's a great idea. It's about putting the structures in place to execute it and ensure it has a lasting impact. What's interesting is that focus, not just on setting the course, but on ensuring everyone's, rowing in the same direction.
And that the effort actually produces the intended value, not just activity.
Exactly. Value realization.
So if you're listening and maybe thinking about moving up into more senior leadership, understanding the CEO playbook seems incredibly valuable.
Absolutely.
It really highlights that strategic thinking, yes, but also that ability to translate vision into measurable outcomes. That's paramount.
It's not just the grand idea, like you said, but the nitty-gritty of making it happen and demonstrating its worth. It's about orchestrating all the different parts, aligning value delivery with those OKRs, handling bumps in the road.
All while staying competitive.
And resilient.
Yeah.
In today's, digital world.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, you mentioned earlier BT flagged the CDO, Chief Delivery Officer, as particularly interesting. The playbook is delivery that wins clients. In the IT services world, that sounds absolutely core, like the heart of the matter.
It really is. This role owns the end-to-end process, delivering products, delivering projects,
Mm.
but with a really strong emphasis on making sure clients aren't just satisfied, but they see the value.
So beyond just ticking boxes.
Way beyond. The playbook highlights the complexities, like managing delivery across different countries, different geos.
Which is common now.
Very common. Using agile, maybe hybrid project management methods. And ultimately, making sure the client gets what they needed, their desired outcomes are achieved.
Okay.
What's fascinating, I think, is that dual focus. You need efficient delivery, sure, but also an exceptional client experience. It's not just getting the project done, it's doing it in a way that builds strong, lasting relationships.
Right. So it's not just about hitting the deadline. It's about the client feeling good about the whole process, feeling like they got real value.
Exactly.
For anyone listening who manages projects or client relationships, understanding the CDO view could be a real game changer, shifting focus from just task completion to genuine client success.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
about delivery that actively builds loyalty.
Yeah.
The playbook probably includes frameworks for like proactive communication, clear governance, how to handle issues effectively.
Proactive problem solving, not just reactive. All right, let's switch gears a bit. Let's look at the tech innovation side. The CTO, Chief Technology Officer, playbook title, Engineering the Future. Sounds suitably forward-looking.
It is. The CTO's job goes way beyond just managing today's tech infrastructure. It's about envisioning, preparing for what's coming next technologically.
Yeah.
This playbook likely digs into building tech foundations that are scalable, adaptable, embracing modern architectures, things like microservices, cloud native design.
Buzzwords we hear a lot, but they mean designing things differently, right?
Fundamentally differently, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also about cultivating a high-performing engineering culture, one that really fosters innovation.
Mm.
The interesting challenge, I suppose, is balancing the need to keep current systems running smoothly while also investing in and exploring emerging tech AI, advanced cloud stuff, DevOps practices.
So the CTO isn't just the chief fixer, they're the chief explorer looking over the horizon.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Making sure the company is ready to actually capitalize on those future advancements.
So for you listening, maybe if you're in an engineering role, understanding the CTO playbook could give you some really crucial insights into where the company's tech is heading.
And where your skills might fit best or where you might want to develop them.
Yeah, good point. It's about fostering that innovation culture, like you said, without breaking what already works.
Exactly. A delicate balance, exploration and execution.
Now, another key tech role, often linked but different, the CIO, Chief Information Officer. The playbook is digital backbone blueprint. That definitely paints a picture of like the internal plumbing.
It does. While the CTO often looks outward and forward, the CIO is typically focused internally. On the IT strategy for the company itself, the big enterprise software everyone uses, the digital environment for employees.
Okay, so ERP systems, collaboration tools, that kind of thing.
Exactly. This playbook probably outlines strategies for modernizing that internal infrastructure, moving to the cloud, maybe establishing more agile ways to manage those big core systems like ERP.
Agile ERP governance. That sounds challenging.
It can be.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about making those complex systems more adaptable to business changes. And, of course, creating a secure, agile digital workspace for everyone. Think of it as building that robust, flexible internal tech foundation the whole company runs on.
So the CIO is making sure all the internal digital gears are turning smoothly, securely, enabling everyone else to do their jobs effectively.
Pretty much.
For someone maybe working in IT support or on enterprise systems, this playbook highlights the strategic importance of that well-managed internal environment. It's not just keeping the lights on.
No, it's much more strategic now. It's about creating an internal IT setup that's functional, yes, but also adaptable, secure, cost-effective, leveraging cloud, streamlining software, all that good stuff.
Got it. Okay, let's touch on one more critical role. The CFO, Chief Financial Officer. The playbook title is Finance-Enabled Growth. That's interesting. It suggests finance is more active than just, counting beans.
Absolutely. That's the modern view. This playbook emphasizes how the CFO can be a real strategic partner in driving growth, not just a scorekeeper looking backward.
How so? What does that look like practically?
Well, it likely includes strategies for optimizing delivery models to boost profitability, EBIT. Earnings before interest and taxes is usually a key metric there.
Okay.
Meticulously tracking the financial health of projects, maybe implementing more agile budgeting processes that can shift as the market changes. It's about weaving financial insights right into the operations.
So the CFO isn't just reporting on the past, they're actively involved in shaping the financial future, making sure growth is sustainable and, importantly, profitable.
Exactly. For anyone in project management or business development, understanding this CFO perspective, this focus on financial performance and optimization, could be incredibly insightful.
It helps everyone understand the financial implications of decisions.
Precisely. It's about turning finance into a strategic lever, optimizing costs, understanding value generation, managing capital, managing operational expenses, especially within those big IT portfolios companies have now.
What really strikes me here is that BT isn't just, throwing out abstract ideas. He calls these battle-tested frameworks and enterprise-ready.
Yeah, that language suggests they come from real-world experience.
Definitely. And the fact that he apparently spent 18 months developing them, well, that speaks volumes about the depth here.
It really underscores the practical value, I think.
Yeah.
And he emphasizes multi-CXO alignment, not siloed ambition. That's key.
Right, breaking down the walls between departments.
And also practical execution, not buzzwords. That suggests a very pragmatic, collaborative approach to leadership, getting these different chiefs working together effectively, using real strategies, not just talking concepts.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the key takeaway for you listening is probably the sheer diversity and the strategic importance of these CXO roles in IT companies.
Each one, as BT outlines in these 12 playbooks, has a really specific focus, a specific domain, and a strategic roadmap for success.
Hopefully this deep dive has given you a bit of a shortcut, a clearer lens on these critical leadership positions and why they matter in the bigger business picture.
And this kind of raises an interesting question for you to maybe mull over. As you think about these different roles, these playbooks, the CEO's vision, the CDO's client focus, the CTO's future tech view, the CIO's internal backbone, the CFO's financial strategy, which one resonates most with your own interests? Or maybe your career path?
Yeah, or even just how you understand the companies you interact with. How might this change your perspective?
It's definitely food for thought.
Absolutely. And look, we're not here to sell anything, but it's worth mentioning these playbooks are apparently accessible if you're part of BT's Agile for CXOs community, should you want to go even deeper.
Good to know.
But for now, we hope this deep dive has been, informative, maybe sparked a few of those aha moments we talked about at the start.
Hopefully so.
Until our next exploration, keep digging deeper.